A man flies out of a car and I find myself laughing. And then one character says, सुन रहा है ना तू, और दूसरा बोलता है रो रहा हूँ मैं. And I realize कि this is the kind of comedy that we've been missing for so long. Hi, I'm Pratiksha Mishra and you're listening to my review of Madgaon Express. Kunal Khemu is known for his comedic timing. His just understanding of comedy as a language is very, very good, and that becomes very evident in his directorial Madgaon Express. Basically, Madgaon Express story है तीन दोस्तों की जो गोवा जा ही नहीं पा रहे हैं, which honestly is the story of a lot of our lives. ये तीन दोस्त स्कूल से लेकर जब तक उनकी जॉब्स लग जाती हैं गोवा जा ही नहीं पाते हैं. Two of them have reached New York and Cape Town also, but still have not reached Goa. Finally, they somehow make a plan to go to Goa before anybody can stop them, and then all hell breaks loose. The three friends are Dodo, played by Divyendu, Ayush, played by Avinash Tiwari, and Pinku, played by Prateek Gandhi. ये तीनों दोस्त आराम से गोलमाल यूनिवर्स में भी फिट हो सकते हैं या धमाल यूनिवर्स में फिट हो सकते हैं, and that is kind of what just the vibes of Madgaon Express are like. It feels like a 2000s के टाइम का कॉमेडी. अरसे हो गए ऐसे कॉमेडी देखे हुए स्क्रीन में. There are parts where it kind of goes for low hanging fruit, like should we really still be referring to the female character as Mal? And also this whole men cross dressing for comedy thing has also become very, very old. Hum Shakals is still a nightmare that I live through every day. But still there's some respite, I guess, to be found in the fact that they don't actually go into very harmful stereotypes, and they also don't exaggerate their emotions as we usually see people do, and that's honestly, I know, the bare minimum, but that's one thing that I should tell you does not happen. The best part of Madgaon Express is the performances. All of the performances are picture perfect. The entire lead cast does such a wonderful job. Prateek Gandhi plays Prateek aka Pinku. He is essentially this worry wart जो हमेशा बैग में मेडिसिन लेके घूमता रहता है. He is very worried that his mom is going to yell at him, and fully understandable. This is the same mom who plays the sass in Anupama, so I understand where the stress is coming from. But ये जो बैग है उसका वो स्टेशन पे गुम हो जाता है, and then he realizes that he's picked up a bag that has like guns and cash, and just chaos ensues. Then there's Avinash Tiwari, who with his performance and with the writing flips what we think of the hunk in Bollywood cinema. उनका जो एक charming nature है, and just the way that he plays the role makes him even more attractive. My favorite performance comes from Divyendu. He's a brilliant actor, उसमें तो कोई शक ही नहीं है, and even here he's playing the loser of the group, जिसकी जिंदगी उतनी अच्छी नहीं जाती है जैसी उसकी दोस्तों की गई है. So he's essentially photoshopping an entire persona just to impress them. There is desperation that he has. There is this wish to just reach the aspirations that he wants to, and there's also the fact that he is genuinely just not a great person. और उसका पूरे टाइम एक भी redemption नहीं होता है, which is fair, क्योंकि 3 दिन में कोई भी इंसान redeem नहीं कर लेता है खुद को. And still there's an honesty in his performance that you see in his character as well, where this is just a person who's holding on to his past, who's holding on to his past friendships. Also in Madgaon Express, we see how friendships genuinely work. It isn't कि ये तीन दोस्त हैं जो एक दूसरे से बेइंतहा प्यार करते हैं. There are no problems between them. जो भी होगा साथ में solve कर लेंगे. In Madgaon Express, we actually see that this is a friendship where there are at times power dynamics in play. There are times when the other does not like another person, and that happens. But at the end of the day, they just come together because of the fact that they have a friendship to sustain. Madgaon Express का बहुत सारे जो comedic bits हैं, they do land. There are some that don't. That is, I guess, the danger of this genre. But despite that, enough of the jokes land कि आपको कभी भी ऐसा नहीं लगेगा कि फिल्म एक dull expanse है. There are times when the pacing suffers, जहाँ पे कोई एक gag है या कोई bit है या कोई scene है जो बहुत ही लंबा खिंच जाता है, and it loses its comedic charm. So in those places, you will find yourself feeling a little bit like the film has dulled down, क्योंकि फिल्म के highs इतने अच्छे हैं, pun not intended, कि the lows also feel equally as low. I also very much genuinely enjoyed Nora Fatehi's performance in this. When it comes to her performance in the song sequences, naturally she's great. She's a natural on screen when it comes to that. But even in the acting, there are parts of it that are just so charming that you can't look away from her character. Her character isn't as fleshed out as the men are, and this is a recurring problem in the film in general. Also, the female characters don't get as much due as the male characters do, but the performances do enough to kind of sustain themselves in this film. और दो characters हैं who have been so perfectly cast, क्योंकि इन दोनों को छोड़ के इन कैरेक्टर्स को कोई भी प्ले नहीं कर सकता था. One is Kanchan Komdi, played by Chaya Kadam, and the other one is the Don Mendoza, played by Upendra Limai. A lot of the film's kind of idiosyncrasies come from these two characters, and these characters are proof कि कभी कभी अगर कोई character fleshed out ना भी हो, if the idiosyncrasies are written and performed well, you can still make memorable characters. That being said, Chaya Kadam does feel very woefully underutilized in this role. I remember that in Lapata Ladies also she doesn't have a lot of screen time, but उनका रोल इतनी अच्छी तरीके से लिखा गया था और उनको इतनी अच्छी तरह से यूटिलाइज किया गया था कि वो उतना खटकता नहीं है. यहाँ पे वो बात जरा सी खटकती है. There are a lot of parts in Madgaon Express where you kind of sit back and just enjoy the direction. जैसे कि प्रतीक का जो character है, in his coke-addled, not even rage, I would say, just his coke-addled self is kind of an alter ego that is almost a superhero, जो बस एक दो कदम दूर है ये बोलने से कि भाई डर क्यों रहा है तेरा भाई संभाल लेगा ना. That kind of switch that happens in Pratik Gandhi's performance is genuinely perfect to see on screen, and it's very much the kind of slapstick comedy that you've come to expect from films like Golmaal, for instance. And then there's just the comedy gang, I think is what they're called in general. Uber stylish. The fashion statement absolutely perfect. I did find myself wondering कि अगर इतना बड़ा gang है, इनको अपने ही weapons चलाने क्यों नहीं आता? I guess it's in service of having that funny scene where someone flies into the background. But still, that was something that I was left wondering. If you're such a ferocious gang, I'm assuming you'll know how to kind of use guns. But regardless, this entire fashion kind of extravaganza aside, I really wanted to see more of this gang, especially since Kanchan Comedy has this very Godfather-esque way of doing things that was very interesting to me. Madgaon Express uses background score very, very well. It is using background score as a tool also to kind of just spoof other films in general. For instance, there are parts when a character is very emotional, वो बहुत ही ऐसे दिल से कुछ बात कर रहे हैं, and the music becomes very sad in the background, only to abruptly stop when someone is like, यार क्या बकवास कर रहा है, chill out. And then there's that part where I think Lakshya ka soundtrack plays in a very emotionally moving scene, again to be brought back into reality so rudely. And these are the parts where I was genuinely kind of excited to see how this film is playing with background score. The camera work itself is also pretty decent, nothing to write home about, but it does its job pretty well. The music in the film is honestly as silly as the film itself, and I don't mean that in a bad way, it's still enjoyable, because you're essentially rhyming words like queen cover with lover, and see, this is where you truly put your literature degrees into use. This is the kind of rhyming that I expect from films like this. Madgaon Express is genuinely enjoyable through and through, despite some of its flaws, and these are flaws that need to be called out because it's mostly there in the writing. The low-hanging fruit thing generally is something that bothered me a lot, but otherwise, through and through, Laughter Riot, I genuinely lost it when a man fully flew through the car window. ये ऐसे characters हैं जिनसे आप relate इसलिए कर पाते हो because there are parts you see in them that only your closest friends have seen in you. Don't lie. Don't lie to me, all of us have done things like this, and I'm honestly jealous because their Goa trip actually made it out of their group chat. Mine still hasn't, so I guess I'm using a public platform to call my friends out. Chalo yaar Goa please. And I genuinely hope that our Goa trip does not go this way because मेरे में इतनी हिम्मत है ही नहीं ये सब करने की. All that being said, Madgaon Express genuinely is a very fun watch, and I had the time of my life watching it, and I might even watch it again, which is something I haven't said about a film in a while. And that is why my rating for Madgaon Express is 3.5 stars out of 5.